Bonjour! Welcome to another video recipe with Cuisine de Michel. I am Michel. That's my oven being ready for what I'm about to make. So obviously, when you get ready to make this, your oven needs to be on 450. And what are we making? We're making pan-roasted duck breasts with onions and crisp pancetta. So we're going to start off by the onion preparation. Oh, this recipe comes to us from foodandwine.com. So I've already sliced up the onions. You want to slice them in 1/2-inch rounds. These are red onions. There are also 8 sage leaves in here and two sprigs of thyme. I just put in 2 that I grabbed out of there. They're kind of large, but whatever. And then we're going to toss that with 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Kind of tricky to toss those together, and I'm trying. They're getting there. Alright, that seems pretty tossed. So now we're going to spread it out onto cookie sheet. Now this particular baking sheet, I lined it with foil just because. You don't have to, it doesn't say to do that in the recipe, but it will likely make cleanup easier. You might want to. It's your choice, not a requirement. So you want to spread these out so that they'll have equal chance for getting cooked. They are tricky to get spread out, let me tell you. Okay, I'm going to use my fingers a little bit. Trying not to have to do that. And I'm going to spread out my thyme sprigs a little bit so they're not all in one place. We don't want all that thyme to be concentrated together. Could be a little bit more like that. Okay, so it's looking pretty spread out. And we're going to put that into the oven. And that's going to bake for 20 minutes in the oven. So now we're going to start preparing the duck breasts. And I've already prepared them a little bit. You want to make a cross-hatch pattern only through the fat part on this side of the breast. Try not to cut into the meat itself. And then you want to season it all over with kosher salt and freshly ground black pepper. Then you'll want to have an oven-proof skillet heating over moderate heat, and I'm guessing moderate heat must mean medium, so that's what I put it on. And we put these skin side down into the pan, and we're going to let them cook for about 7 minutes. Okay, so they have been cooking for 7 minutes now. We are going to turn them over. They're nice and very well goldeny brown. We will now transfer these to the oven. Where they will cook for 6 minutes. Meanwhile, we need to flip over our onions that we put in there just before. And they'll cook the rest of the way. Remember, they've got about 10 minutes, so they're going to go now 20. Full 20. So they need 10 more minutes after I flip them over. All right, so the duck has been in the oven now for 6 minutes. Bring it out. Onions are still going to cook a little bit longer. We're going to transfer the duck to the cutting board and let it rest for 5 minutes. I always tint mine with foil. It doesn't say do that in there, but I want to keep the heat in. So meanwhile, we are going to cook the pancetta. Since I'm only making the 2, in the original recipe there were 4 duck breasts, but I'm only making 2 because it's just me and my husband. And so I'm only going to do half of the amount of pancetta as well. This is a 1/4 pound of pancetta, which we're going to cook over what it says is moderate heat. So I'm going to go again, slightly under medium. So I don't want my pancetta to go too fast. And then we're going to cook these until they are browned and crisp and drain them on a paper towel lined plate. All right, so now I've finished crisping up my pancetta. It is now resting on the plate. And now we're going to make one more thing, which is a little sauce, kind of a salad dressing type of thing, only a warm dressing. So I'm going to put the heat back on to the moderate heat. And I have 1 clove of garlic. This is already still pretty hot because I just finished doing that. Oh, after you finish with your pancetta, you have to drain off all of the oil except for 2 tablespoons. So I did that back here. Don't really need a good shot, but that's okay. All right, so we're gonna cook this really quickly in here. Just to get it a little bit fragrant. We really don't have to cook it for very long. We don't want it to brown and die on us. I'm just gonna cook that for a few seconds to get it fragrant. The recipe says high heat, but if I put this on high heat, my garlic would be destroyed within seconds, so I definitely am not following that recommendation. Okay, that looks good. Now we're going to be adding 2 tablespoons of sherry vinegar and a 1/2 cup of chicken demi-glace. So just bring this up to a boil and scrape up the brown bits. Well, it's already boiling pretty quickly. There's any problem there. And it does not say to keep going or anything. So I'm just going to get this up to boiling really quick. And we're going to shut it off. All right, looks great. Now we are to remove it from the heat, and we're going to whisk in 3 tablespoons of walnut oil, which I left all the way over here. Good job, me. All right, so we're going to do 3 tablespoons of walnut oil. And we're also going to be putting in 2 more tablespoons of olive oil. So we're just whisking that in together. And then we're going to season it with some salt and pepper. Now our sauce is ready, and I'm going to go for final plating. And here's our final product, plated. I have it on a bed of lettuce and butter, or spinach and butter lettuce, I think is the bottom part. And then you can see my cooked onions are there as well. I sliced up the duck breast and put pancetta with it as well. and hopefully it'll be fabulous. I'll be having this with some 19 Crimes Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is a classic pairing with duck breast. So thank you again for joining for another episode of Cuisine de Michel. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Au revoir.